Butterflies, happy Sunday. Love is art that comes from the heart. That is the coloring page that I'm going to be doing for today. If you watched my last live, I showed you guys this book that I got from Amazon, and it has awesome. What I like about it is the pages are already colored, and all you have to do is, this is my little coloring brush, watercolor brush pen that I use. I'll link all these in the description afterwards, but I am back for another page to do together. And this one has some nice flowers on it that are very great for spring right now. I hope that you guys are doing well. I also wanted to just give you a quick update from the last time you guys saw me. So if this is your first time seeing me do this, what I like, this is like so easy. You don't have to bring any colors, watercolors out or paint or anything. You just have the book and a watercolor pen. And I just squeeze so I could get a little bit of the water out, and you're gonna see what's gonna happen. It'll just activate the colors that are already there. And this is a nice relaxing activity to do, especially at the end of the week. Sometimes Sundays are a day where you feel a little bit overwhelmed when you're thinking about all the things that you have left to do for the next week. So I'm going to use some of this time to paint with you. And I really agree with what it says, that love is an art and it's healing. It's something that I've been using a lot lately to be able to help myself, with the chronic health conditions that I have. So since the last time I spoke to you guys, I had some seizures, and I am really trying to, instead of just wait for when things get really hectic, like just implement into my routine some relaxing things to do so that my nervous system could be at a relaxing point instead of always in high alert, which it always is. I'm always thinking about things, and one of the things my therapist had mentioned to me was, you should, that word should on yourself all the time. Like, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And that's some of the things that causes extra stress. For me personally, I don't know if you're like me. You can let me know in the comments if you struggle with that. A lot of times it's how we think. The seizures that I have are not, the cause is not epilepsy. I've gotten tests done. But the way my body handles stress, it comes out in a seizure. And so it's very important for me personally to find ways to reduce stress. And I have been leaning into art lately, and it has been really, really helpful. Something I actually did after that therapy session was make an art piece. I'll be putting that video up soon, where I wrote down the word should in red ink, and then I took a watercolor pen and I just kind of wrote over top of it to be able to just symbolically what I need to do with that word. I need to let it go, because it causes a lot of stress. There's a lot of things that we plan to do, and then life happens. And, part of the struggle is not making sure that the things that come up, without us planning it, comes up. It's how we deal with it. So what do they say? It's not the load, but how we carry it. And so let me know in the comments, those of you who are here, if you can hear me, because I am connected to my mic, and I just want to make sure that you guys are able to hear me well. And but yeah, Now I forgot what I was saying to you. I find ever since I became a mom, and let me know if I'm the only one who deals with this, I'm sure I'm not. I find myself, because you get constantly interrupted with things, like my thoughts are a whole lot more scattered. And being a homeschool mom, being with my son a lot more than most parents are with their kids, and my son is special needs, I find that I really have to make sure I take time to de-stress and give my brain some quiet and calm. And like I said, art has been really helpful in that way. And there's something about watercolor that's also just, reminds me how I want to feel, like just, let it flow. And sometimes when we're thinking about stress reduction, we think it has to be something really big. You know, who doesn't want to go to the beach, go to a spa day, get a massage? But sometimes you're not always able to do that. So I've been trying to find things you can do at home. And art is something that's amazing for all age groups. And so I've been so happy to be able to find this and really lean into it. Although I am on here live with you, so I'm not really off screen, it's another activity that I found that I can engage in that doesn't require a screen. Because that's another thing that could be giving us anxiety. Looking at our screens. And listen, I'll be the first to say that, my phone is attached to me a lot of the time. But doing this does decrease, just getting us at a basic, a better, what do you call that? A better, I don't know, like just starting off not as stressed as when you have to think about the things. And with the phone, it's like everything is vying for your attention. Whereas one thing I love about coloring and painting is that it allows for you to just focus on what you're doing, to be present. And a lot of times when we're worrying, that means that I'm thinking about something in the future, something that hasn't even happened yet, something that I have no control over. But right now I have control over how much water I'm putting on this page and just painting one thing at a time. Our brains, technology and things like that have been helpful, but at the same time, it also can be like just a lot to take in. And so when you're trying to keep up with everything, you can just continue to feel overwhelmed. So doing activities like this, going outside, literally like they say, stop and smell the roses or the flowers, those things can help us. So if you're a chronic warrior like me, and you don't have to be a chronic warrior, all of us can look for ways to reduce our stress. And even if you're not at the point where you have your own book like this to be able to do it, but even if you're just watching, just like there's some people who like to watch other people clean, I don't necessarily find that comforting, because then it reminds me of what I need to do. But painting is definitely something beautiful. Taking the time to change our surroundings, get outside. That's something I'm going to do after this is done. Take some time for myself and go for a walk. But yeah, the last 2 seizures that I've had were pretty big. And I also feel like as much as the seizures make a really big impact on my day, and they cause a lot of limitations, unfortunately, at the same time they're also wake-up calls for me, letting me know that I need to make a change. I need to put some more emphasis on rest. And when I haven't been listening, my body definitely lets me know, whether it's something that I'm worrying about, or most of the time that's what it is, because I don't really go out and do that much. Another thing I realized from the last time I talked to you guys is I underestimated how much homeschooling takes out of you, like, mentally. And so having something you could just kind of do mindlessly, all I'm doing is just putting water on this page, then I don't have to worry about like thinking that far ahead, except for the next little thing that I'm going to paint right here. Let me know if you guys, I remember the last video, some of you told me that you like to do art. And that's something that I like too, because I, when I'm homeschooling my son and we do crafts, that's actually how this started. I saw him I got him like this Paw Patrol coloring book, and it was watercolor, and he wasn't using it, but I was, and I was like, this is pretty cool. And I said, well, let me get my adult version of this and do some painting for myself. So it was actually my son and helping him that brought me back to art and how healing it can be. And my seizures continue to teach me a lot. So I will admit, I felt really sad because one of the things that the seizures, the consequences of that was driving. And there are times where I feel I just want to get up and go for a drive myself, just by myself. But, have to be safe, I'm not able to get my license back until I have 6 months of no seizures. And every time this has happened where I got really close, I get another one. So because that's unpredictable, it just reminds me the importance of being modest and just make the best of what it is. It's definitely teaching me acceptance. And this is why, whether I'm talking to you guys about my hair journey, I'm talking to you about homeschooling, motherhood, or my health, all these things that I've experienced have taught me the importance of self-compassion. And self-compassion really is just acknowledging that you're struggling with something. Because, a lot of times it's like, no, come on, you could do this. Try and push yourself, or comparison kicks in. Well, why can't I do it like other moms do it, or other women? Why do I struggle with this? And those questions don't really help. And so when I just realized, you know what, this is hard, it's frustrating. No, this is not ideal. And I see you. I see that, just acknowledging it and validating that can go such a long way in how tolerable something can be. And that's why I talk about self-compassion so much, because I really feel like that has been a game changer for me. Because I am somebody who can kind of like get caught up in self-improvement, which is good, but sometimes it doesn't always work that way. You have to grieve what you've lost, health and things that you want to be able to do. And once you take care of those feelings, then you can move on to the next part, which is, okay, how am I going to make this work? And like I said, art has been something that I have been leaning into lately. It's very low entry, especially with this book. Like I said, I only need 2 things. So when my energy is really low, then this is what I'm doing. If I have a little bit more energy, then I have some other art projects and things that, I will do. And then there are times where even, like the times I had the seizure, that's not happening either. And so it's times like that that I learn the importance of how I'm thinking and the things that we say to ourselves. We know that words are powerful. We know that when we talk to other people, but we really I know I'll speak for myself, I take for granted how much that affects me, especially when I'm trying to rest and recover. if I'm telling myself I'm lazy, or why can't I just, why is this taking so long for me to get better? It doesn't really help me. It actually makes the recovery a lot longer, and I don't feel as good. Whereas if I'm saying, you know what, this is just what my body needs right now, and I'm going to give that. And something else my therapist helped me to see is whenever I talk to her about how I take care of my son, she's like, you know how to do it. You know how to take care of yourself because you're taking care of your son. If he was sick and he had a fever, or he had a seizure, you wouldn't be saying to him, you know, why can't you get yourself together? Let's go. You would be telling him, it's okay, mommy's here, and you take care of him. And that's him in the background. You know, motherhood, as you know, most moms know, it has different stages to it. Just when you think you got used to one stage, then another one comes up. And so just learning to like deal with change is really a big skill. And if you deal with conditions that are affected by stress, okay, which condition is not affected by stress? It's important for us to get that practice in. I'm also, even with painting and art, have learned to let things be imperfect. Like, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I messed up here. It's like, well, that was a part of the process. It's still beautiful. Finding the beauty in many things. And I just really, like I said, take for granted how hard change is. And that it can be easier. You can adjust faster to change when you allow space for it, especially for the adjustment period. When I'm sitting there saying, all right, it's time to get back on it, get it together. And my body's like, well, honey, we gonna go at our own time frame. So you guys know I love butterflies because I feel like they really encapsulate what a transformation we go through, and how it can, especially when it came to the hair journey, how it can feel very uncomfortable at first and not look the way you want, but at the end of it, it'll be better than you expected. Or it can, you know, it can be beautiful. I saw a quote that said the same thing about spring, and how spring shows us that change can be beautiful. But another animal or something of nature that's been helping me lately with my mindset is a turtle. Because we all learned that story when we were younger, right? About the tortoise and the hare, and basically like taking things slow and steady. And so that's something else that I've been learning, to embrace what my pace is currently. And when you deal with a chronic illness, that pace can change on a daily basis. So you have to be willing to move with it. Otherwise, you will get left behind. And I learned it the hard way. And that's okay too, because that's why I could come on here and say what I'm saying. It's like, you tried it that way. How did it work for you? Did that go well? There's a lot of things that are out of our control. And I feel like those very things that are out of control teach us how to let go. That's my word for this year. Surrender. Or not surrender, release. Releasing different things. That word should. I'm not trying to eliminate. That's another thing I learned. Eliminating is not compassionate, because it doesn't allow for the fact that you may know all the things you know and still wind up comparing or being impatient with yourself. But it allows space for patience and the amount of time that it takes to be able to adjust. So that's another reason why I like the turtle, because it goes at its own pace. That hare was just ripping and running, and that tortoise was like, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there in my own time. And what I like about these pages, how long we've been going for 20 minutes, so it's not that long. I mean, I am talking at the same time, so that may slow me up a little bit. But just taking 15 minutes to focus on something pretty, focus on some colors. Something that is a really easy way to practice mindfulness is using your 5 senses. So what can you see? What can you hear? What is there around that you can touch? Taste, all those different things. Look at that. That came out so nice and pretty. Love is art that comes from the heart. All these beautiful different flowers. That was really, really relaxing to do. So I was really happy to do this with you guys. For those of you who watch on the replay, let me know how you're doing. Let me know how you like this art. If there's art that you like to do, and if you'd like to see some more of this type of art, I'm going to try and do something, show you some of the other different things that I try and do to be able to give myself some relaxation. And remember, those of you that are dealing with chronic illness, to not define yourself by your limitations, but define yourself by the strength that it takes to be able to keep getting up and showing up despite all the things that you're going through. So as you go through the rest of this Sunday, I hope that it's nice weather where you are. If not, that's fine too. I hope that you're able to go into the week knowing that whatever challenges come up that you can't predict, you'll be able to handle them if you meet them with love and compassion and patience with yourself. So thank you so much for joining me for this watercolor painting, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.